Hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to Total Football Talk, and we're going to look at all the latest news and transfer news coming out of Manchester United. And we are still absolutely flowing with the news because there is plenty to talk about. Bruno Fernandes, Rasmus Hojlund, what's happening with Jadon Sancho and his contract with Chelsea, what's happening with Garnacho, why did Liam Delap choose Chelsea over Manchester United? So plenty for us to get our teeth into over the next 10 minutes. Thank you for joining me. I'm Keith, the host of this little channel. And if you're enjoying the content, if you could hit the old like button, that would be magic. Or if you could subscribe, that would be absolutely brilliant. Thanks to everyone who has done so far. But look, we're going to jump in with one of the top stories that has been kind of floating around for a little bit now. And we know that there has been news with the Italian clubs looking at Rasmus Hojlund. And apparently Inter Milan are eyeing Rasmus Hojlund. So the budget for a high caliber striker is expected to be around 40 million. The 22-year-old Dane is currently the leading candidate to partner Thuram and Lautaro Martinez. And this is coming from First Newslet. I think that's an Italian outlet that are looking into this. So where do we sit with this? Would you sell Rasmus? I think Rasmus unfortunately has fallen off a cliff, especially in all season. I think he's struggled. He scored a couple of goals, but nowhere near what number 9 for Manchester United should be doing. He's been it's just, the kid's lost all confidence. You could even see in the games against Hong Kong, or when they were out in Thailand against the All-Stars, his touch is gone. His strength to hold the ball up isn't quite there. The first season that he had Manchester United, I thought was really good and looked like it was going to be quite progressive. Unfortunately, he hasn't been able to kind of kick on from there, and we are left with a striker who's low in confidence, can't find the back of the net, also isn't getting the service that he probably needs to. So I also still think the service is an issue. I know there's a lot of stuff talked about Bruno Fernandes creating a lot of big chances, and that is true. And I think I'm just wondering now, is it a case of the suppliers to Hojlund have lost confidence in him, leading him to lose confidence in himself, and that is the reason why we're not getting, he's not getting the service that he needs. A slightly more older and established striker may demand a little more from the people who supply to him, and I mean Rasmus can maybe demand, but maybe he hasn't quite got the authority he needs at this particular stage. So 40 million to Inter Milan. Is that a deal that Manchester United can do? Now, from a monetization point of view, we would probably need the full 40 million. Otherwise, we would lose book value on him, and that would mean we could spend less in the transfer window. So if Manchester United could get 40 million, that's an interesting offer. But if we do sell him, we are left with no strikers at all. There is no one. Okay, we have got talks with Gyökeres, which is interesting, but will he come without Champions League football is the question. We don't know yet. We're not really linked with any other strikers. Etike, could potentially be making a move to another Premier League club. I think Liverpool and City are both interested in him. I know there are other strikers out there that we could look at. Osimhen's the other one, and there was a swap deal with Osimhen and Rasmus Hojlund, but I can't see that happening. As I said before, swap deals notoriously don't work very well. There's not that many that have actually taken place, and I don't think there's anything in that. So we're looking next at do we sell him for 40 million and leave ourselves with no striker? Do we keep him? Do we, you guys let me know. Does he need a run out in, does he need to be sort of loaned out and looked for to gain some kind of confidence back that way? Or do we just sell him and then we have to buy 2 strikers? Massively interesting. We can't leave ourselves short. We were already short last season. We've let Cavani, Ronaldo, Martial, Mason Greenwood. They all went, and we never replaced any of them. So if Hojlund goes too, are we going to replace him, or are we going to sit on our hands? Yeah, it could go, and maybe he does deserve to go based on his performances so far. But yeah, we'll let's see where this one goes, and let's see whether Inter Milan, because obviously they probably need a little bit of a rebuild after they're absolutely mauling by PSG in the Champions League final. So they're probably looking to bring in some younger players to freshen up the team, and maybe Rasmus is a good fit for them. He has done well in the Italian league before too, so maybe he could go back there, refine himself, and maybe he'll end up doing a Scott McTominay and being, be the MVP out there or whatever, and being top goal scorer. But yeah, okay, so that's the news on Rasmus. So let's keep a close eye on that going forward. Now, obviously, the Bruno Fernandes news is going to be literally going to be rolling around for the next 3 or 4 days. And what apparently he said is Bruno Fernandes' agent is back in Europe now, and he's had talks with El Halal, and they're preparing for whatever it takes to get for United and Bruno. And this was what Fabrizio Romano was saying, was Bruno Fernandes' his agent is back, and they're ready to pay whatever. Talks will take place in the next few days between the club and Bruno to understand the situation. Now, my whole thing with this is, I've asked whether Bruno should go or not. Well, I'd love to know what you guys think. Do we sell Bruno? Do we keep him? If we sell him and we get in, what do we want? I think it has to be 100 million plus. Because if they're prepared to pay anything and they desperately want him, and obviously they want an answer really quickly because they want to go and sort out all their signings before the Club World Cup, we ask for the highest figure we can get. I'm just wondering now, are we a stage where we have to rebuild? And I've heard other content creators talk about this. It's quite interesting. Mbappe was sold from Paris Saint-Germain. Or not, sorry, wasn't sold. He went on a free. They let him go. He's gone to Madrid. Obviously, he's European boot scorer, top goal scorer in Europe. So fair play to him for that, but obviously that's individual accolades. Unfortunately, he never quite got the team accolades this season. Maybe he'll get them next season. Brilliant player. But PSG were transformed after he left. He was the kind of crown in their jewel, the jewel in their crown, sorry. And he's gone, and now they have a team full of very, very talented players, but that want to play in a team. Manchester United want a team, I believe, so they want a system, and they want all the right players in that system to make that system work. Bruno Fernandes is not a system player. He's more of a individual, player. And I think if we're trying to build a team around him, I'm not entirely sure why we're trying to build a team around Bruno if we want to build a system, because I'm not sure that works. It feels counterintuitive to me. Now, maybe someone can explain to me who's got a better footballing mind where I'm wrong with that one, but by all means, get your comments in below if you think I'm completely wrong with that. But Bruno has been brilliant. Bruno's going to be 31 whenever the season kicks off, or early in September, I think. And we will never get the opportunity to cash in on a player like this. We are running a massive gamble, though, and I understand that. And this could backfire in our faces. We could let him go, and we could be in trouble because he's a leader. Even though I know Roy Keane doesn't agree with it, but he has been probably our best player. He has carried this team quite heavily. But can we sell Bruno, and can we bring in, for talk's sakes, Mbeumo? We've already got Cunha, Gyökeres, and maybe an 8, say, and Edison. I don't think Edison's going to come to us. He may go to Liverpool, he may go to Saudi. That's where we are with that. Fascinating where we're going to go. Apparently Bruno's family are on the fence. They're not entirely sure. It'd be uprooting them, moving to a new country, but it would be for the riches that they could never ever earn here, even though he's very, very well paid here, but the money out there would be on another level. So yeah, I didn't think I'd be in this situation, but I'm leaning towards selling Bruno and taking the money and trying to do a rebuild, because we have so little money, which is on the Glazers and on Ineos, who have destroyed the club. But that's the situation we're in. So that's where I think we are. And I mean, this is the next one. So Jadon Sancho is still uncertain, or Chelsea is still uncertain over Jadon Sancho's future, on whether they want to keep him. And they've apparently opened talks with Jamie Gittins from Dortmund. Now, if Sancho obviously scored in the Conference League final, Chelsea made a big thing of it. He has done okay for Chelsea. I don't think he's done great. Has he done enough to deserve his move? I hope so, because if we have to keep him, we're in trouble, because we bring him back, we get 5 million, okay, fine, but then we've got to sell him. That wastes more time and energy from our selling side, from the people who are trying to, bring players in, from the recruitment department. If we have to try and sell him, that's a headache that we don't need. And also, he's coming into the last year of his contract, absolute nightmare, because if he's going to run it down, I think he's on 350 grand a week if we're in the Champions League, 250 grand a week or something like that if we're not. His wages are high. Is he going to sit in his hands and just sit in the reserves and not do anything for a full year? Because I don't think he'll be integrated into our team. I don't think he's good enough. He hasn't got the legs that Ruben Amorim wants. So we could have a potential problem here. We need Chelsea to buy him. We need this to go over the line so we can bring in some money from him and be able to help that boost our transfer pot going forward. I'm concerned that this is not going to be the case. And Liam Delap is the next one. Apologies, my kids are going mad. As per usual, I come up here to do some work and my kids go crazy. Liam Delap had doubts over Manchester United because of the way the team and their position, and they said they'd mixed messages coming from Ruben Amorim's future, and he will not be, whether he'll be in charge or not. Now, Ruben Amorim's still on a short-term contract. He hasn't got very long, and this transfer window is massive to him because the January one, I don't know whether he'll get any, and in the following year, United are going to have to make a decision whether Ruben Amorim's the right man. So maybe Delap was concerned about that, and I think that could be an issue for Delap and his team. And I get it, it makes sense, but so Manchester United weren't able to sell him the vision. He went to Chelsea. Now, apparently Chelsea are looking at another striker, so it'll be interesting to see whether Delap goes there and he gets all the minutes he maybe was promised. He may, because I know Chelsea, or is it Etiquette that's going to Chelsea? I know that Chelsea, there's another striker that Chelsea heavily, or maybe it's got Gyökeres, but Chelsea are definitely looking for another striker as well. So it'll be interesting what happens there, whether Liam Delap has made the right move or not. Manchester United want to make other offensive signing. And the striker, Bryan Mbeumo, is very much that person, according to Fabrizio Romano. Now, we've talked about this already. We talked about the pros and cons of Mbeumo, and I think he'd be a very good player. And I think if we go for him, I would be happy with that, especially if Bruno goes, because we would definitely have to bring in Mbeumo, if Bruno goes, we'd have to bring in Mbeumo, we'd have to bring in a striker as well. So those are the key parts of Manchester United's transfer window that we need to look at. We also need a goalkeeper, which isn't really being talked about at the minute, and Onana needs to go. But we'll keep that for another one. And then, and this was the final one. So apparently Sporting have turned down a 59 million offer made by Arsenal. That they further added that Manchester United have not given up on the Swede. They could make an approach for him, provided they can recoup the funds from multiple player sales. See, unfortunately, this is the problem. If we sell Bruno, I think we can go and get Gyökeres. Whether he wants to come to us is another story. Whether he wants the Champions League football, which, fair enough if he does. But we want players that want to play for us. Cunha wants to play for us. He stated that yesterday. We want players that want to come here because we need determined. We need people that are hungry. We need all that kind of stuff. But players who have talent as well. Can't just be passion players that want to run around a lot and actually have no talent at all. We need people who want the passion and people who want to fight for the jersey and people who want to help rebuild this club. Okay, guys, that's all your news. Thank you very much for joining me this morning. Please hit the old like button. Please hit the thumbs up. Please hit the subscription button if you could. That would be absolutely magic. And that's your daily roundup. Get your comments in below on anything I've talked about today. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on any of those things. Anything on Mbeumo. What do you think about the Delap? What do you think about Bruno going? What do you think about us trying to get Gyökeres? Anything in there, get them in below and we'll have a chat. Thanks, guys. I'm going to leave it there and we'll see you tomorrow.